So I recently made a video about Kyle Kulinski and how he bought into this narrative that the mainstream media is developing, that Trump is somehow being uncensored. I want you to question for a moment, why is it that the mainstream media outlets, every single one of them, Google, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, every single social media outlet, they all unanimously decided to uncensor Trump during this phone call I'm about to show you? Now, it's a phone call. It's not an actual public event. And keep in mind, AI technology does exist to where you can synthesize audio. It's incredibly easy to do this. Like I am personally within a year of completely automating this entire thing that you're watching right now. Okay, so this is not a thing that's hard to do. Okay, now that being said, I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist. Where's my evidence, right? So here's the thing that you need to understand. Trump is censored right now by everyone. So everyone unanimously decided to uncensor Trump during this phone call and then censor him again. Now, do that with any other journalist, any other person in the United States, and you tell me what's wrong with this message. Let's take Edward Snowden for a moment. Okay, let's say we censor Edward Snowden. And then the government says, and the mainstream media and all the social media outlets, they all decide, hey, let's uncensor Edward Snowden for like 2 hours to give you a speech, okay? We'll let Edward Snowden give a speech for 2 hours. It will be scripted, okay? It's a scripted speech. And then after the 2 hours, we're going to censor Edward Snowden again, okay? We'll make sure he's censored after that, okay? Why do you need to censor him after uncensoring him? No one is asking that question about Trump. No one. Why do you censor someone after having uncensored them? The only reason you would do that, the only logical reason you would do that is because the thing that is being uncensored is controlled. That you somehow know that what you're trying to hide from censoring him, that's what you're trying to censor. You try to hide something. Maybe he's trying to be violent. Maybe he could incite another insurrection, right? Whatever your reason is, right? Whatever it is. Why uncensor him and then censor him again? Is it like that he's probably not going to incite a riot during this phone call? Is he like safe during this phone call for some reason? Or is this phone call scripted somehow? Watch this video. Watch this video, and this is Cenk Uygur buying into the same narrative that Kyle Kulinski is buying into. Take a look.
So Donald Trump went on Fox News, talked to Laura Ingraham, and while everybody else is condemning the Capitol rioters, Trump thinks that they were actually lovely people. Lovely people trying to commit violence on his behalf. I'm telling you, I guarantee you in private and almost public, as you're about to see here.
It's in private. I guarantee you it's in private. It's in private, but it's almost in public. If he's in private, then you don't know what's going on in his head, okay? Let me just clarify. If you're a journalist and you don't know what a person is doing, don't make assumptions. Don't say, I guarantee anything, especially if you haven't heard from them. Okay, let's keep going.
He's thinking, well, why wouldn't I support them?
How do you know?
They want to do violence for me, not against me.
Now, understand, I'm not defending Trump. I bet you Cenk Uygur is right here. Understand, I think Trump is crazy. I think Trump does want to incite a riot. I do think that Trump is incredibly dangerous to put in front of a camera because he can incite a riot or an insurrection on the Capitol, right? He can do that. Why can he talk during a CPAC speech and a phone call? Why is that allowed to be uncensored? Why is that allowed to be uncensored? Is he not going to incite a riot during that time period? How do you know? How would you know that whatever you're trying to prevent isn't going to happen during this phone call?
They go after people that I guess you'd call them lean toward the right, and they wave American flags. In many cases, they're waving the American flag.
Just understand, for some reason, you're allowed to see this. Think about that. For some reason, you're allowed to see this. You're not allowed to see anything else from Trump. Nothing else. You're not allowed. Censoring Trump isn't just censoring Trump, it's censoring you from being able to know what Trump is really saying, because that's what the mainstream media is preventing. That's the whole point of censoring someone. You prevent them from saying something. What is it that they want to say, and why is it that He's definitely not going to apparently say it in this video. Live video.
And they love our country. And those people, they're arresting them by the dozens.
For some reason, though, we can guarantee he's definitely not going to say anything that should be censored. We can guarantee that because that's why this is live. It's why you can see this live. That's the whole point. But then immediately after, for some fucking reason, I don't know why, we're going to let him talk and then we're going to censor him again. Really?
And I'll tell you what, they're doing things they're persecuting a lot of those people.
What's interesting about that phone call and about the CPAC speech that I'm trying to emphasize to people, that I want my viewers to understand really bad, okay? Trump did not mention anywhere in there about censorship. Trump is censored. It's the number one most important thing to Donald Trump. Here's another thing I want to mention. Trump has the high ground. When you are censored, you have the high ground politically. You get to go around and say, listen, I'm censored. I have things to say. People are trying to prevent me from saying things. These are the things that I want to say. And whether it's inciting an insurrection or whatever, right? Whatever it is. But what's weird is that he doesn't mention any of that. He doesn't take the high ground that he could easily take right now. He doesn't talk about his Twitter account. He doesn't talk about the fact that he's getting censored immediately after this phone call. So immediately after, journalists are not allowed to communicate with Donald Trump. They're not. Where is he? You tell me. Where is he? Yeah, that's exactly right. No journalist has access to him. And the journalists that do are controlling his speech. Do you not see the most obvious thing? Why should you believe that that phone call was real? Fox News is the middleman between you and the horse's mouth. The whole point of Twitter was so that you can listen to the horse's mouth. You cannot do that if there is a middleman that could potentially filter that information from you. Like Fox News, for example. Or a CPAC speech that's scripted. So all I'm asking my viewers to do is open up your mind a little bit. Ask yourself, why is it that Trump can be uncensored and censored again? Who does that? Name me one other person who has ever in U.S. history been censored and then uncensored and then censored again. Tell me who has gone through that. And then, if you can, which you won't, but if you can, then my follow-up question is, during that time that you were uncensored, was what you said really something that you wanted to say? Or did you feel like it was controlled because you were going to be censored immediately after? Why censor after uncensoring? What's the motive behind that? The only logical motive to do that is because you know that the thing that is being live, like a CPAC speech or this phone call, because you know that what it is that you're trying to hide or censor is not going to be present in that conversation. How can Google, how can Reddit, how can Twitter know with 100% certainty that this phone call or that CPAC speech is not going to contain anything that they're trying to censor? How do they know that? You tell me, I'll wait.